everybody, it's another week. Here we are, and we've made it to episode 50, and well, I don't know what to do. I mean, I've never actually thought we'd make it at 50, so I'm so proud, so happy. I'm so happy that everybody, and appreciative that everybody's been listening. So we made it to episode 50, and we're just going to jump right in, and I got a few new ones, a few old ones, and some, not new ones and old ones, but got some new groups I haven't played before, and have some couple of groups that I have played, just mix it up today. So we're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna start out with Tangerine Beams. I can actually pronounce that, and they are a synthpop pop wave group out of Toronto, and the song they sent me today is called Halcyon, and this is their remix of a song that was originally written by the Griffs. And this has a good, they redid it in like a synthwave version, and it just kind of works really well. So I kind of went with a, lover's deal to start out today. It's really good. It's just, we're always showing the love here. So I kind of went with like a main and lover. They're getting together, and in this scene, they've both been through the movie. They finally realize, like a lot of these movies, that they're the ones who were meant for each other, and have had this whole setup to where they're supposed to be together, and they're going to be together, but that just doesn't happen until at this moment. And we get this whole little montage of once they're getting together, they've come together, and as you always know, they were always meant for each other, and just got that whole montage feel with it of them finally getting together and finally realizing that they're meant for each other. Second, also, it kind of gives me kind of like that Bully movie kind of feel. And what I mean by that is the main has, they've kind of changed into a more confident person, whether it be like I've said it many times, like a magic deal where they're magic, or they've had to face something. I kind of went with on this one, they've kind of changed. The whole ugly duckling, but something happened, and they've become, they've had to beat the bad guys and everything, and we see them in this whole new changing in the looks and the ugly ducklings deal. We see the bullies that were once picking on them, or now wants to be with them, and I'm using a female heroine on this kind of feel. So like you've seen in those 80s, there's always like the female heroine. They were the ugly duckling turned into the swan and more confident. Kind of that feel. And it's like the main's changed and to be more confident. They've changed their looks, usual setup, and like I said, the bullies were once picking on them, now they want to be the girl, but she not only gets her revenge by just turning them away and just making them just feel like lower than low, but she goes after the person that that's always been with her and always been always been supportive, and they get together and they walk off into like the set as the story ends. They both work for me, but it kind of could work on the same movie. But I just kind of like the getting together whole feel. So let me know what you think. It's a great start for the day, and it's going to be starting out with today. It's Tangerine Beams and Halcyon.
So far away, I'm waiting for you. Silhouettes are all I feel. Stuck on the west coast again. I'm waiting for you. Silhouettes are all I feel. I'm falling to get close again. Calm the winds, calm the ocean. You change the motion, Halcyon. Calm the wind, calm the ocean. What do you dream about, Halcyon? What do you dream about? What do you dream? What do you dream about? What do you dream? I'd like fires to elevate for you. Running out of breath to keep the night suspense. Walking out into the sea again. Colors then you change into a fire, and now you change into a storm, and then you change into a fire. Calm the winds, calm the ocean, you change the motion, Halcyon. Calm the wind, calm the ocean, what do you dream about, Halcyon? Calm the wind, calm the ocean, you change the motion, Halcyon. Calm the wind, calm the ocean, what do you dream about, Halcyon? What do you dream about? What do you dream about? What do you dream about?
Next up on our cavalcade, going back to the past, since that's what we basically do on here. I'm going back to a good friend, and I always love his music, and it's a really good, solid sound, so I'm going to go back to it. So next up is Endemico. I'm always going to screw up the name. Sorry. And if you haven't listened to earlier episodes, I've played him many times. He's a synthwave, chipwave tune, out of Sardinia, Italy. And the song I have today is called Please Insert Disc 2. He didn't give me a description on it, but I kind of went with a dust settle, and I'll explain that here in a second. We've seen those movies where, after the dust settles, the heroes are there. So what I kind of felt like was, after the evil's beaten and the dust settles, we see the main and the team are the last ones standing. We've seen that like many times in a lot of 80s, 90s movies where, all the dust settles, all the battles, and the only ones left standing are the main characters. And as the war is over and the world is now free, we see the team now looking around together at the new free world around them, knowing that they've won, and we see them re-entering the city to a grateful crowd, a grateful city and citizens that are just, really grateful to be free of the tyranny. And we see the whole rejoicing, the whole victory as this team is, they're doing their final little sessions, and we're getting their final exposition as the city and everybody is celebrating. We get each team members having their family show up or going to visit, whatever their backstory was, and we get that whole little just scene as a whole song plays out. That's my first vision on that. It could be a little different. I just kind of like that. So on the second one I have, though, it's kind of on the same beat, but it's a little tiny bit different. The main is beating the evil and release the fairies. It's kind of more of a fantasy movie. The fairies that will turn the desolate area or desolate world that were being captivity back to the green it once was. Basically, what I mean by that is these fairies were like in this fantasy movie. These fairies kept the world in check with the greens and the forest and all the nature. They were basically like Mother Nature fairies, so to speak. And they were all captured, and the world went dark and desolate because they weren't there to keep it running. So, and the main characters destroyed the evil and released them. And as the world is transformed back, excuse me, to the green of the grass and trees, and as the water all returns, everything's returning back to normal. We see the main start to watch over the production, and then he starts changing, or they start changing completely into a new form. And we see the fact that they're now the guardians of the magic and the nature that is being rebuilt. Basically, as this world changes, so is our hero. The hero is changing because they've chosen our hero to become the new guardian of the world, to keep it safe and green, so to speak. Both of those work for me. I just kind of like, the beaten dust settles, like I said. So check it out. It's a really good song. It's Endemico. I'm always going to screw it up. And the song is called Please Insert Disc 2. Next up today, we have our good friend Ace Buchannon. And if you don't know their music, they're a great synthwave group, and they're based out of Helsinki, Finland. And the song they sent me today, they sent me a while back. I'm just adding it in. It's Mano a Mano, and this gives me a kind of like a cop or future cop kind of feel. And this is the beginning backstory of that. And this is where, you know, the main and the team are doing a raid on the area. We see each member introduced as the raid is happening, and whatever part they're doing, you know, we get to see kind of like each person of this main storyline that's about to happen, and we get to kind of like a mini exposition of who they are while this raid's going on. And the main is then shown, excuse me, and the main is then shown flying in to assist with the arrest, as the members are all shown defeating the part that they have to do, while we get their, you know, like I said, we get their mini part in the storyline. Basically what's going on is the raid's happening, whatever reason, it could be a kidnapping, drug deal, whatever. And they're doing the raid, and we get each character who's going to be the main characters in the storyline. We kind of get their little bit of them beating each person, and we kind of get like a mini bio for like a narrator or anything. And that's kind of what it gives me. So the second one I get on that also could be the same movie. It's the main is out searching for leads in the latest case. I know I've said that a lot, but it always works really well. We see the usual moving through the streets. As this is going on, the bad guys are actually watching the main intently to make sure that they're not getting too close. And then all of a sudden we see the main start getting a clue that someone's watching them and knows that the bad guys are now watching and stalking them. So we see the main afterwards. We see them racing off to lose the goons in like a car chase scene. I always like car chases through like in a cop movie. We see them cars chasing through the streets and everything, and you know, just the whole ordeal. And as the song ends, we see them lose it, and we see the main losing the goons and going back to the main search, but trying to question why are the goons after them. So both of those work for me. Like I said, it could work on the same movie. It's just, you know, just gives me that kind of like cop and, you know, just a whole like future cop feel. So like I said, let me know what you think, and in the comments below, make sure you follow everybody on their platforms as always. So here it is, check it out. It's Ace Buchannon, and the song is called Mano a Mano. Hey, sorry if you see me looking down a lot. The stand where I keep my notes, as you can see, has dropped and bent, and I can't get it back up. So this episode, I'm gonna have to look up like this. I look like I'm nodding a lot. So if I say yes a lot, that's why. No. So if you're wondering what that is, that's what's happening right now. Next up, we have Power Failure, and they're a synthwave retro outrun everything, synth everything you can think of. Group out of New Orleans, and the song they sent me today is called Past Tense, and they call this a night driving song with, and then it gives me the whole pitch and the whole deal synth, but it's kind of like a night driving song as they call it. I kind of went a little different route. I kind of went, this is like a mains first scene, and this is like one of those movies, you know, where we get the entrance of what's happening in a town, or you know what's happening with the goons or anything before we meet the main. And what I mean by that is, like, this is the main's first scene. A bunch of goons are going after the group and harassing and just causing anarchy, as usual. And they're just basically, you know, causing havoc, being a pain in the ass. You know, it could be either like they're evil or just, you know, like thieves and shit. Sorry. And then we see the main first scene walking into the area, and we see them confront these goons. And as per most movies, we see the goons going after the main one by one as the song is going on, and we see the main taking them out, which I'll never understand in movies. You know, we see always in these fightings, you know, movies, we see the goons go after them one by one. You know, reality, everybody's going to beat his rear end. But anyway, I digress. It just kind of gives me that feel of, you know, like that whole, we get to see the main for the first time, and we see that they're there to, you know, kick some ass, and you know, just they take out these bad guys, these little thieves, these little goons and stuff, and then he walks on. And you know, and after they've taken them out, we get this once they kick out the goons, and we get a small bio of what the main is as they walk out and start the whole main storyline. Basically, you know, after these beating them, we kind of get like a bio of who this is and why they are the way they are, and you know, and then we get this whole, the main can actually really start now. The main story is. So that's kind of the first thing it gave me. Excuse me. The next is kind of like the main and the last boss have a long fight, and the main is now after. And I'm sorry, the main is now, you know, they've got that little slow time where they've both been fighting hard, and the main's been, you know, like most movies we see, they're beaten at the first part of the whole fight, or they're not showing their greatest. And then all of a sudden we see like memories. And, you know, memories from the teachings, or memories of why they're there, the vengeance or whatever. And we see this whole montage of them happening while they're thinking and, you know, getting a second wind. And all of a sudden we see the main just out of nowhere get the second wind, and they rise up and they finish the final boss finish this final fight while the boss is just, they can't handle it, and we see the main start beating them. That just, I mean, it kind of works on both sides, because it could be the same movie as always, like I always say, but it just gives me that feel and visions of that. But let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know what kind of feel you get from these. And as always, you know, as I always say, follow them and follow their platforms. So, and really good song today, and you know, check out their stuff. It's Power Failure, and the song is called Past Tense. Next today we have our good friend. As I said, we're going to play a little both of new and old. So next up I have Electric MOUV. I'm going to screw up your name, sorry. And the song they sent me today is called MARSUPIAL. If you don't know Electric MOUV, they're a synthwave group out of Mexico. And they're a really good group, and I love a lot of the music they play. It's a lot of mix of everything, synthwave, and it's really good. So the song MARSUPIAL, as they describe, is one day I woke up thinking the way I've lived has been the way I've wanted to, and even then I've managed to do everything by enjoying the trip. The feeling of achievement is what I want to make feel. There may be more there, but it broke. But yeah, it kind of gives me that feel, so I kind of went with that. And what I did is I kind of went with a little sci-fi deal on this first one. I kind of went with the main, and the others have just come back through a portal after saving a verse or time. You know, they've saved a cyberverse, or you know, a multiverse, or they've gone through a time travel deal. And we see them happy and changed both externally and internally after this whole ordeal. They now understand what was the reason behind their missions and are happy to be back to a world returned to normal. Basically, whatever happened that they had to go do in the time or multiverse deal played a big role into returning the normal, returning their dimension, so to speak, or their world back to normal. And they're happy that they know that they understand why everything happened, and everything happened for a reason, and they now understand it, and are happy about the fact that they were able to achieve it. And we just get that whole feel of it. That was my first vision, and the second vision I had on it, this is kind of like a team returning home after the main mission, and we see each member returning home or planet, depending on what kind of storyline you use. They return to their home or planet, reconnecting with their loved ones or friends, and we see the main, after all this montage of them getting together, back with their homes and families and stuff. We see the main, as most are, alone, staring off in the night sky, that having internal memories of what happened, and ready for the downtime after saving the world. And this is how the story fades, kind of like that deal where everybody's returned home, everybody's happy, and the main is sitting there alone because they're basically the loner, like most of these movies. And we just see him staring off into the distance, and we get this whole close-up of his face as he's staring off, and after they're staring off, and we see them content with themselves, and there's kind of like a mini narration, and then the story fades out. Both of those work for me, and like I said, every opinion's different, so let me know what you think. And as always, like I said, let me know what you think in the descriptions. Give me your visions, just let me know. And make sure you follow everybody on their platforms, as I always say. So here it is. It's check it out. It's Electric MOUV. I'm gonna screw it up. And the song is called MARSUPIAL. Next up today, as I've said before, I have something new for you. As I said many times, if you're going to send me music, I'm going to play it. I didn't care really what it was, as long as as long as it wasn't beating sticks upon a bucket. I was going to play it. This is a great representation of what I mean. Next up today, I have Good Godfather, and they are a rock group. Aha! They're not a synth group; they are an actual rock group, and they're based out of Oregon. And the song they sent me today is called Baptismal Fount, or Fount. You're going to look it up in the description. I can't pronounce it properly. I know I can say baptismal probably, but I don't know if it's Fount or Font. But anyway, this song gives me a lot to work with. They describe it as upbeat rock tune about facing the firing squad. And I kind of went that way, but kind of didn't. What I did was I kind of went with a main is facing the bad guys after escaping a lair. This is the first, kind of like a first or final boss meeting. And what we got is all these secondary bosses are facing the main character, and we see each boss one by one, as always in these movies, and the main character is just taking them out one by one, and then all of a sudden the main boss sneaks attacks and is beating the crap out of him and just leaves him there for a few seconds and laughing over him. And all of a sudden, as in all these movies, we either have an internal power come up, or this internal power, or a power is unleashed that the main character has always had, or has been hidden from him or stopped. And all of a sudden, as the main rage parts up, we see this main power suddenly show up and just takes them all out. The main character just takes everybody out, and the boss is just beating the crap out of boss and just takes them all out as the song goes on. That was kind of the first feel that I get. I kind of like that feel because it kind of gives me that rage as the song goes on. It's kind of like a rage versus a dealing with some emotions and raging on it. So that's the kind of good it gives me. Next up on it gives me is kind of like it's a main walking through town, and they're an assassin. They're kind of an assassin that's retired. They don't want to be an assassin anymore. They just want to live their life. And all of a sudden, this boss wants them dead, and we see this whole. We see them entering a town, and all of a sudden, these assassins start trying to go after them. And as this is going on, they're getting shot at, and they're hiding out. They're hiding in this one spot, while they're getting shot. And then all of a sudden, at the main rage part of the song, you'll hear it in the song, right where the main heavy vocals hit. The main character knows that they're going to have to fight and destroy this, and they're just so tired of it. And we see them standing up at the rage part and just start taking out these other assassins. Meanwhile, the main boss is barking orders, telling them kill them, that kind of destroy them kind of feel. And then, at this main bridge of the song, we see the battle commence. And as the slower part, as this battle is commencing, we see the slower part of the song where the boss and the main are finally face to face and the final battle between them starts. Basically, what I was just saying is, the whole battle is commencing after the rage part, and the main character has gone through his own rage and destroyed a bunch of assassins. And finally, as this whole battle is commencing, we get this whole montage, and here we are finally face to face with the boss as the song ends. So that's kind of what I feel. Like I said, as I've said many times, if you're going to send me music, and I'm going to play it. So this is a good representation of that, and it's a really good song. So check it out. It's Good Godfather, and I'm going to screw it up. I'm just going to go with Baptismal Fount.
Baptized by gunfire, they will tell me my name. 10 faces won't see it, it's not polite to stare. Keep me under fresh water, keep me under the fire. Keep me under fresh water, keep me under the fire. Don't you burn me, come to me, don't you burn me, come to me. Don't you burn me, come to me, don't you burn me, come to me, God. Baptized by gunfire, I'll be the judge of that. 10 faces won't see you, they're looking out for me. Keep me under fresh water, keep me under the fire. Keep me under fresh water, keep me under the fire. Don't you burn me, come to me, God, don't you burn me, come to me. Don't you burn me, come to me, don't you burn me, come to me, God. Ow!
Last up today on our cavalcade of our 50th episode, I'm going to go with something a little dark and psychopath because I'm a psychopath for doing this show the way I do. So, no, I'm just going to end this because it's really good today with Andrik Arkane. They are an electronic group out of Austin, Texas, and the song they sent me today is called Haunted. And I'm going to have to read this because their description is really cool on it. It's a dark electropop track inspired by the antagonist of a horror video game. The lyrics are written through the eyes of a calm and calculated psychopath who is toying with the latest victim. And on this case, I actually kind of went with that. But I kind of went with more of a cyber stalker since, we're actually in that days of, everything is being done by computers and we can, stalk each other online. And if you're in the mood for stalking, stalk my platforms below. No. But on this one, I kind of went with a cyber stalker, and it's stalking the main character. And it's the main evil of the story. And we get to see them following the main and going through their life, through their computer, learning everything about them, and just stalking their entire life by following them, just sending them things without telling them who they are. And as this song progresses, we see them taking out the main's friends one by one because of their jealousy or just because they're just plain evil. And at this whole time, they're trying to destroy the psyche of the main character by letting them know that it's them doing it and why they're doing it. And the whole series of events is what's causing the main to lose their psyche and go crazy. At the same time, they have to beat the evil. But it's that whole story of why it's that whole stalking. The song gives me that whole stalking feel of the of the cyber stalker going after the main. And it kind of gives me that first one. I mean, that's the main one, and it just gives me. I just like that whole description. It's like destroy the psyche and let them know why they're doing it because they're kind of jealous and they're just a complete psycho. Next up on it kind of gives me the main leads a secondary life of both good and evil. We kind of like American Psycho. We see them leading a normal life during the day, but at the night they're kind of like a high-priced serial killer. And what I mean by that, they go after high-end clientele, rich people, things, because they have this kind of weird feeling of killing them and just taking everything they own, just destroying their lives through killing them, basically. Killing the rich and just letting them die. And as this is going on, we see them in the high-priced clubs, galas, searching for the next victim. We see them find and swoon the next victim as the day continues. We see the murder happening one by one while they enjoy taking out these people, and that they can't be, or they have this affliction of wanting to destroy their lives and destroy every memory of them, or just having a fun time of destroying rich people. So I don't know. I just kind of went with that whole setup on that rich people on a normal life versus they want to be rich or they just want to kill rich people, and that's their whole hang up. So both of those work for me. It could work on kind of like the same movie, but let me know what you think. As always, it's a great song, and as I always say, follow everybody on their platforms and their social medias, and just buy their music. It's really good what we're here for. So check it out. It's a good song to end with today. It's Andrik Arkane, and the song is called Haunted.
I'm so haunted, so very haunted. I'm so haunted. Into the night I will go inside, entering your dark thoughts, opening your love box. You say that you love me, be my dame, I'll be your beau. I say that you're hungry like a wolf among the crow. Tell me what you want to hear, I'll give to your buccaneer. Tell me what it is you fear, a cocktail-loaded musketeer. I could be just what you want, your one only love and done. Just you let me haunt your dreams, so I rip out your rancid tongue. I'm so haunted, love exalted. I will get what you deserve anytime you want it. Oh, exalted. I'm so haunted, so very haunted. I'm so haunted, so very haunted. I'm so haunted.
That's it for this week. I'm happy I made it to episode 50, and I appreciate everybody's love and everybody's viewing on this. Just a heads up, this will be the last episode of the season, because as everybody knows, this season kind of gives me a lot of hell, and it's a good time to stop for the season right now, right before Christmas. I got a lot of upgrades to do. I got some new upgrades that I have to take up. I'm going to be redesigning everything here and get ready for next year. So I thought it was a good timing right before the holidays, to make this my last episode for this year. I'm coming back at the first of the year. It's just, I got to do some revamps, and I got a lot of new ideas I'm going to come up with, but I need the equipment to do it. So like I said, I appreciate everybody. If you're new, please subscribe and like and go back and watch my other videos. I'm going to post some other things coming up soon, and I've got a lot of new ideas coming, and just I just need to take a couple of weeks between my work. This is the worst part of the year for me, my normal job, and this is the worst time of year for me for my normal job, and I've got a lot of new ideas and a lot of stuff to revamp and stuff, but just haven't had time because of everything going on. So I'm going to take this time just to go through the first of the year, right before the New Year's, and get everything ramped up, get all the new equipment I need, so I can get all this stuff out faster. As you've seen, I've had a lot of errors of trying to get the videos out on a normal rate. So hopefully with this new stuff and new ideas and new everything coming up, it'll be even better. Like I said though, if you're an artist, please start sending me more music. I'm going to be touching base with a lot of artists, trying to get more music, and I've got a couple of friends helping me out. We're going to do some marketing, get a lot more fans. So if you're an artist, keep sending your music. I'm going to rebuild my database and just keep it going. So hope everybody has a great week, and I will see everybody at the first of the year. As always, follow me on my Twitter account. I'm on there all the time. I'm on my Facebook, and I'm also on my Instagram a lot. So feel free to talk to me. I'm always on there. So I'll see y'all at the first of the year, and I appreciate everybody, and I love everybody and I love all y'all. So have a great one, and I will see y'all then. Bye.